you doing?
All right. Oh, make these.
We haven't even done one.
All right, everybody, welcome back to 1090. I am Andy. This is Todd coming at you with another one of our favorite beers.
Favorite.
We do this annually. Oskar Blues out in Colorado puts out their 1050 barrel-aged stout, and we absolutely love it. It's a perennial favorite.
Oh, yeah.
And after the glitz and glamour of BCS is gone, this follows up right behind it. We've got 3 years in a row, the 21 that we just cracked here. We're going to compare that to the 19 and the 20 and tell you which one we like best, but rarely does it disappoint. Todd, tell us a little bit about what we're going to be sipping on today.
The regular 1050 is a decadent chocolate stout, right? We all love it. When you add that barrel characteristic to it, aging in barrel, I think for about 12 months, really makes it just an extraordinary, complex, velvety stout that I think rivals BCS base. So yeah, I'm hoping this year is the same.
I agree. And one thing about the BCS, it tends to be a little bit heavier on the darker fruits. This has a little bit more of that chocolate kind of coffee note to it, which we really like. So there's almost 2 camps. There's your BCS camp and there's your 1050 camp.
I wish they would maybe do variants of this.
It would be good
Wouldn't
to see.
It be good to see?
Maybe they stick with what works.
All right, let's get into it.
Without further ado, let's get into it. Let's get a
21. So we just cracked this about 5 minutes ago.
Nice legs on
Room
this.
temperature, and the legs are hit. Look how, just chocolatey that looks. Beautiful color to it. There it is.
Yeah, not as heavy on the dark fruits. You get a lot more chocolate.
Chocolate. Big time dark chocolate.
Ooh, it smells wonderful.
The bourbon barrel comes through most definitely there. Yeah. It smells.
Yeah, it smells decadent,
delicious.
doesn't it?
It does. All right, let's get into it.
Sip on it. That's wonderful.
It's beautiful.
That's a really pretty beer.
Things. You want your barrel ages to have a couple of things. One, it's got to be viscous, right?
Yep.
Check.
Yep.
It's there. It's not the most thick, full-bodied I've ever had, but it's there. It's chewy. 2, I love the finish on this.
I do too.
The finish is where it all comes through. What do you get?
It lingers.
Yeah.
I like the big roasty chocolate notes on this. There are times when the base of BCS, I hate to keep comparing it, but can kind of go back and it's like maybe over the top with like the plums and the fig notes and stuff like that. This, man, if you like those chocolate notes, you like the roasty notes, a slight hint of coffee, like that all comes like shining through here on this.
It is
pretty poor.
It's blended beautifully. That chocolate, the roasty notes, everything you just said is there with the bourbon. I love that you can taste the oak and bourbon in it. It's nothing's overpowering. It's very well blended.
It's well balanced. You're right.
Well balanced, and I think it's up there with other ones.
This is beautiful. One of the better pours I think we've had this year as far as barrel-aged stouts are concerned. They rarely do they disappoint. They're consistent. If nothing else, let's crack open that 20.
The 20.
And see what our thoughts are on that.
All right, so 2020. Now, so if I can remember correctly, back last year when we did this, I believe we thought 20 was spectacular. It lived up to the billing. The question is, a year in this can, has it changed? What will we expect to happen? Well, I would expect maybe some of that bourbon would come up, would come up more, and some of the chocolate notes would come down. We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. Chocolate's not one of those flavors that quickly dissipates, so I hope it kind of sits around a little bit.
The nose right off isn't as pronounced as 21.
Well, it's different.
Yeah. In terms of the chocolate sort of and the bourbon. I'm having a harder time getting those notes out of this than I was. Oh, let me pour a little more because I drank most of mine.
Yeah, this is. We want to top me off there too.
Yeah.
There we go.
We got to compare back to the 21. So I think again the nose on the 21. Yeah.
The nose is prettier on the 21.
Yeah.
This, although we liked it almost a little flat in comparison to this.
Yeah. I just don't smell the chocolatey popping, and the barrel too. The barrel characteristics that you get.
There's a slight note I'm having a hard time picking up, like a little funky note here.
Well, let's taste it and see if we can get
what happens.
All right, this is a 20.
So the finish on this is much lighter.
It's much lighter.
I think it drinks. It drinks thinner.
Yeah, it does. It's interesting. Why would that be? I wonder. I don't know if it was thinner last year.
A year can tend to be the sweet spot. In this case, this didn't, to me.
This just tastes, everything is amped down compared to the 21. The chocolate notes, the roasty notes, even the bourbon notes, they're just not as pronounced as they are in the 21. And it's not because of aging. So aging usually kind of brings everything together even more so for barrel-aged beers.
It just feels like a very subdued version of this.
Yeah, all right.
One more to go.
There's
All
only
right, let's
one
just-
way
let's crack
to
them
see
open.
if 21 is the champion of the last
see.
3 years. Very rarely do we find, unless it's a great vintage, and there is sometimes it's just a great vintage in BCS, we do this all the time, that the base of that year beats cellared vintages,
Although
right?
you remember the 2020 was one of those
Correct.
standouts.
So there is sometimes where that
It does
happens.
happen.
But I remember really loving the 19 and 20 of the past 2 years.
So I'll tell you right now, this nose is a lot more similar
yep.
to the 2020
Yep.
than the 21,
Yep.
I think.
Yeah, oh yeah. Definitely.
Although I think a little bit more potent, to be honest with you.
I don't know, that 21 still, to me, I think is the best smell.
No, I think a little bit more than the 20, but not quite
Yeah,
as much as the
correct.
21.
All right, cheers.
All right, cheers.
2019 1050 barrel age. See? Nope,
So,
not as good. Yep.
well, let me say that. I think this is much better than the 20.
Agreed.
Not on par with the 21.
Not at all. So again,
So,
I'm
yeah.
getting a little bit more.
I think we're getting...
It's nice and viscous. The chocolate just isn't as pronounced, and the roasty notes, and even the bourbon. It just doesn't. I'm telling you, 21 is actually the winner here. It's clear winner to me.
I think you're right.
And that's not surprising. Sometimes that happens. I remember liking each one of these vintages. They're not blowing me away. I think it's because 21's so good.
21's delicious.
Yeah, there it is.
You know, the one thing is,
Wow.
we do talk about...
Should have bought. I gotta buy more. I know where there is
We
some.
do talk about the chocolate notes being prominent on 1050 in general. Mm-hmm. They're there on the 19, they're there on the 20. Mm-hmm. This is a chocolate bomb. And
I
you
love
almost have to go back and drink these two to realize just how
Yeah,
much
good point.
that stands out compared to the last 2 years.
Yep.
As far as viscosity, the 19 is still there. It's
Yeah.
playing along nicely with the 21. The 20 fell flat in almost every category to us, I think, compared to the 21.
Yeah, you
So-
got it. I mean, if you're rating it, it's just
Hey,
21,
we're ranking them 21, 19, and 20.
Yeah.
There you go. None of them are going to disappoint you. Some are going to make you a little bit happier. But hey,
I will say though, if 21, I know a place around here that still has it. Grab the 21,
we're just not going to
1050.
tell you where that is, so we can keep getting more. No, this is
it's
good
fantastic.
stuff. So honestly, I'll be curious to see when we cellar this, how this compares to next year's vintage.
Yeah.
But always good, always consistent.
Yep.
Gotta love what they're doing out there in Colorado.
If you've had this, let us know below.
Yeah, comment below. Let us know what your thoughts are. In the meantime, of course, if you like what you see from 21090, please hit that subscribe button, click that little bell in the corner to let you know every time we got a new video coming out. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Untappd. We go live every Tuesday night with Glam and Drams.
Oh, come on.
We have a great time. Speaking of which, we also just started our Patreon, which we appreciate all of our Patreon members who have already signed up so far. Lots of good stuff. You get to do a lot of interaction
Beer,
with us.
bourbon, rock and roll. It's a club you want to be in.
Yeah,
Come join us, guys.
Yeah, we have a lot of fun.
Yep.
So, but until next time, and there will be a next time.
21's the winner. Cheers, guys.
Rock on.
Look at the lacing on that. It's just sticking.